Peace and welcome into the latest episode of Men of the Certain Age. The Soup. I'm Les, and I got my man DL. We are missing our third partner, P Double. P Double is watching his nephew walk across the stage and graduating. So salute to nephew. And P Double will definitely be back in the Soup next week. H man, how you?
No complaints, man. You know I don't complain, man. Good week this week. Got a chance to hit court. Got my little executive assistant. I showed her how to do a few things, and work was good. Weekend was good. Got a chance to talk to P Valley. They're back at the end of this month. So that works out for me. I'm gonna hang a picture of myself in my living room because Mercedes went to shoot up my crib. So I'm gonna hang a picture of myself up. You know what I'm saying? She tried to get at me after this. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good, man. No worries. No complaint. Happy to be here with you, man. You know how it is.
No doubt, man. So that's crazy. So bring the viewers in, man. Bring the rest of the soup in, man. So when P Valley comes through, what do? Do they like just shut down the entire block? How is that? How does that situation even pop off?
The way it works is because the house next to mine is Mercedes' house in the series. So my house is always included with whatever they do. But as far as the street is concerned, they usually block off our street on both ends. There's a Fulton County Sheriff sitting down there and the East Point Sheriff sitting down there. East Point Police sitting down there. There's security sitting on the block so just people can't randomly walk by and all that type of stuff. They hold people on the sidewalks. They control it. They have lights everywhere, man. It's really amazing the amount of work that they put in to actually, when you see it, the amount of equipment and the way that they set things up and the coordination that they have, it's really amazing the ability to put together a production like that. It really is dope, man. Yeah, I love to see it. But it's a lot of people, a lot of moving parts in it. It's a lot of, obviously it makes a lot of money if they're willing to put this type of investment out there just to make it happen.
No doubt about it, man. Maybe hopefully one day we'll see gentleman number one in the scene, just in the scene, some respect, throwing something back or whatever. And hopefully we get to see you in a special guest appearance or something like that, man.
My house is enough, man. I don't want to be seen, man. If they want to see me, they can come and see me on Men of a Certain Age. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. That's what's up, man. And please share, subscribe, and comment down low, man. And on this particular episode of The Soup, man, this week has been crazy, and a lot of things happen. As y'all know that tune in, we record on Sunday. So this is Sunday afternoon as we're recording right now. And a lot of things pop off right after or during the recording and different things of that nature. And this particular last week, man, I was going through my phone before we started potting, and it's a guy that I follow on Twitter, and he was going off about Caitlin Clark. And I'm like, yo, why is this grown-ass black man just really got his back up and just going super hard for Caitlin Clark like that, man? And no, I had watched the game on Friday night between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. Obviously, Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. You know what I mean? And I saw the incident when the girl Kennedy checked her and knocked her down. Now I'm going to say this straight up and down. Obviously, that's not a basketball play what she did.
Of course not.
And also with that, man, was a little bit of flippity flopper with that as well. And before we get into this heavily, man, I want to say, man, to Caitlin Clark, she didn't ask for any of this attention that she's getting. She worked on her ball game and worked on her game hard enough that the attention came. But it's the masses that has weaponized her for good or bad. And as I said, man, we should have talked about it last week to be on the beginning of the talk instead of at the end of the week and the end of it. But however it goes, we're going to give our little 2 cents in the soup, man. What I want to do is this, Don. I did a little cut up of some people with their takes on Caitlin Clark. People like L. Duncan, Shannon Sharp. We got a special guest appearance in the soup from Dr. Umar. We got the Kang, LeBron James in this particular cut up. We also have Bob Costas. Of course, we have Screaming A in this cut up.
Of course.
And we also have Mr. Matt Burns on this cut up. So before we come back, and I'll let you go ahead and say what you got to say, let's go ahead and take a look at this clip real quick.
What else? Who are these girls? Who are these girls that are hating on Caitlin Clark? Are you just combing through Twitter? Stop acting like because you see some randos on Twitter knocking Caitlin Clark, all girls are against her. What else are these women supposed to do? Fawn over her? Fangirl over her? Bend the knee? Kiss the ring? Like, what do you want from them?
Now, there are some people the last couple of weeks, and I ain't going to call your name, but you're going to see this, and I'm talking to you. What are they supposed to do? Let her score? They're trying to win.
And then we come to LeBron Buck Dancing James, LBJ.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. They flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right. One that's, in sports that's flown commercial or flown charter, that should be celebrated. And it's because of Caitlin Clark. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it fucked up. Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
And then Matt Barnes, he chimes in again with Snow Bunny Shannon Sharp, and they both say that Caitlin Clark's teammates are not protecting her. Protect her from what, Matt Barnes? Protect her from what, Snow Bunny Shannon Sharp?
My issue and my question going on right now. Caitlin Clark says she got cheap shot.
Where y'all at? Where the rest of the Indiana Fever?
To your earlier point, there was an incident recently. Alyssa Thomas, who happens to be African-American, grabbed Angel Reese by the throat and threw her to the floor. Flagrant 2, ejected from the game. The reason why that doesn't spark as much conversation isn't just that Caitlin Clark is a bigger star than Alyssa Thomas. It's because it's a black-on-black incident.
Wow.
And you don't have that dynamic that people can comment on, yes, but also exaggerate and make the entire...
But you see Angel Reese trying to come in. Oh, my goodness. She had her hand around Angel Reese's neck. Area. And Angel popped her head on the way down. I'm going to tell you something, though, Jason. Angel Reese is a Baltimore, Maryland native. She's had some of this stuff happen before. She's going to be fine. She's tough. She'll be able to overcome this. And Alyssa Thomas, a veteran, is trying to send the rookie a message.
We're talking about the Indiana Fever, led by a girl that was playing at Iowa. It's producing the most watched WNBA games in over 2 decades. What does that tell you? That tells you that before Caitlin Clark came along, it wasn't nearly as popular.
So there you have the little montage we threw together concerning this whole topic with regards of Caitlin Clark. I got a lot to say on this, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pass it to you and ask you what are some of your thoughts on that.
It's like everything in sports. If a ballyhoo rookie comes in, they're gonna get roughed up. They're gonna get rookie treatment. It is what it is. Excuse me. I think the big thing about this is that I think people are overhyping it. It's basketball. It's just simply something that happens, especially in pro basketball. If you've got a rookie coming in who's been getting a lot of attention, been getting a lot of headlines, think about they do the same thing in the NBA. Think about what Embiid did to Wembanyama this year. He gave him, what you said, he gave him what, 70?
70.
It's 70 hot joints. So they're going to abuse rookies as long as they, in any way possible, whether it's on the court, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's scoring abuse, they're going to do it. It's just part of the game. So I found it strange that people would have such an outcry for this when it's just, if you've ever played sports, or even if you've never played sports, you understand the dynamics of professional sports, even to the extent where they have rookie hazing. So why is this such a big thing for people to blow out of proportion? And I didn't even know about the Angel Reese situation, but that's crazy too. And that's really too, you know what? That's a basketball play too. I think that a lot of people overblow things because they've never played actual sports. They've never been really competitive. Not saying that we were playing D1 or D3 or anything like that, but we get on the court, we know we got to hoop because we don't want to get knocked off the next game. We might have to wait 3-4 games. We know we got to hoop. Basketball things happen. I had black eyes from basketball. you know what I'm saying, busted lips from basketball, broken fingers, all kinds of stuff from just playing basketball as hard as I possibly could, and an opponent who was playing me as hard as possibly could. So I think people really need to chill out when it comes to stuff like that, because in all honesty, I don't think it's anything malicious. I think it's part of the rookie culture. And I honestly think that in sports, things do happen. You just have to be prepared for them. And the good thing about sports is it gives you a chance to come back and show that you're better than whatever's being pressed up against you.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple months ago when we first talked about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, when we talked about the situation in the women's tournament. And all of this is basically translated to the W, as they call it. And I'm not going to sit up here and act as though that I've been a women's NBA fan for years and years. Mm-hmm. My interest in women's basketball has peaked within the last couple of years due to the fact of myself paying attention to Dawn Staley at South Carolina. As I was watching Dawn Staley, I was introduced to Asia Wilson, who is a beast.
Serious business.
Who gets out there and does work. 35 and 12 and 5. Numbers like that.
Every night.
Exactly. In, day out. Mm-hmm. Atlanta, Dallas, LA, wherever she pulls up, she's putting down work. And in this time of me watching the W, man, I've come to find out that these women are serious about their craft.
And they playing ball, they hoopers, man.
And they serious, and they out there hooping.
Exactly.
All right. And for them to think that these women are gonna, as L. Duncan was saying, what do y'all want these women to do? Y'all blown this lady up for the whole women's college basketball season. Y'all blown her up the whole way and continue to blow her up. You think when she gets out in front of these women, they're not gonna try to bust her ass? You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
You don't think in the heat of competition, things happen? Tempers flare, words are said.
You're gonna get this work.
Right.
Exactly.
Are thrown in the heat of competition. Let's be serious. If we compare what Alyssa Thomas did to Angel Reese compared to what Kennedy did to Caitlin Clark, there is no comparison.
Not even close.
If that had happened to Caitlin Clark, she would have been suspended 5, 6, maybe half the W season, man. And it took for a white man to put it all in perspective.
Costas.
When Bob Costas said, it's the white dynamic. We all know what it is. We can't front. Caitlin Clark has played a major part in the exposure of the W since she's come along. But that is also included with Angel Reese.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's also Camila Cardoza, who came from South Click. It's also the girl who's out playing for the Sparks from Stanford. And I think her name is Rika Jackson, that went to the University of Tennessee, that's playing for the LA Sparks right now. The other girl, her name is Cameron something or other.
The young Euro with the blonde hair is out there cooking them too.
That's her. Your man Jimmy Butler made a special guest appearance with her jersey on. So you know what with the thirst trap is on.
Especially with Jimmy Butler, you know how he go.
Jimmy Buckets. You know, he pulled up to the game with the jersey on. Yeah, man. But it's yes, Caitlin Clark is pushing. She is pushing it to another level, but along with the rest of these women, because the rest of these women are like, yo, y'all gonna come see her as well as me. You're gonna get to know me because I'm gonna bust her ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Any competitor should.
And for LeBron James and Charles Barkley and others to say you need to be thanking Caitlin Clark for getting charter jets on teams and different things at this point in time. Now, this was something that was going on a couple years ago because I knew about the WNBA players wanting and challenging their owners to get charter jets for them to fly. And for LeBron James to say it's because of Caitlin Clark that it's all happening, she plays a part, but they had already been laying the groundwork for this, for the charter jets. And see, LeBron sit up there and talk like the NBA has always had charters. When the first team to get charter jets, cousin?
Who was it?
Guess. Take a guess of who was the first team to get charter jets.
Dallas?
Close. You got the first initial, but not only that.
Detroit.
Guess the year.
2002?
87, 88 season. And
Wow.
they were the first team to get charter jets. Think about The Last Dance, which we all saw. Remember that scene with Jordan them? They was playing cards in the air.
Yeah.
We lost to such and such, but I'm winning. They waiting to board the flight with you and me. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a process. What I'm saying is to say it's a process, yo. It ain't always been like that. Look how long it took for the NBA just to get charter planes. And the WNBA hasn't been in existence for 40 years or 30 years. It's just pushing that, right? Just push. So it's, you got to put some of that stuff in to context, man. And again, to Caitlin Clark, all you've done is be nice with the basketball. And all these other people have championed your cause because of your whiteness. And like I said, it's funny, right? It's like it was lightning in a bottle because we've seen white women in America that was nice with the basketball.
Sue Bird is nice as fuck.
Take your pick.
Rebecca Lobo, nice as hell.
Stewie.
Yeah.
The girl, Kelsey Plum.
Taurasi.
It's plenty of other white women that were nice as hell. But like I said, it happened to be that she was in Middle America, Iowa. It just took on a phenomenon of its own. Shout to her because she's been quiet. She ain't been out crying and saying that it's unfair and look at me, I'm this and that. She's been humble. It's no fault of her, is what I'm getting at, that these people are out here putting her on a pedestal. Let me show you what the latest thing is that they hot about, yo. Let me show you this one.
Come on, what are you talking about?
You see
that?
this?
I saw. You know what? And I thought about that too yesterday when I saw them drop the Olympic team. Right? I was like, okay, I don't see Angel Reese, I don't see Caitlin Clark, but I'm looking on and I'm seeing ballers. You know what I'm saying? A fair amount of Europeans, white people, white girls being represented, a fair amount of black chicks being represented. You know what I'm saying? So no, that's gonna go, and I'm gonna talk about that later on when we discuss this guy during the political section during Edward Blum as far as affirmative action is concerned, because that's what they want to do. They want to make it seem like there's racism towards white people out here. And there's really not, because white people control the majority of things within the economy, and sadly enough, within our culture, they control the majority of things. So how can it be cited as racism when we don't have any control? That's crazy, man.
Fam, I'm listening to the radio this morning, right? And this guy was just going crazy about this. It's gonna bring they're missing bringing so many more eyes, so many more viewers to the Olympics because of Caitlin. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, is this the last fucking Olympics that there's ever gonna be?
Exactly.
Why is it that y'all I know, again, it's the privilege. It's the white privilege thing. It's like, how dare you not bring little Katie on the team? Do you see the numbers? Do you see all the arenas being sold out? And that's another thing, man. Yes, the arenas are filling up. But she's not playing in every single arena at the same damn time. These folks are showing up to see these other players. When she comes through, yeah, you can equate that to her filling up the arena, but you can't equate it to her filling up all these other arenas in Dallas, in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying?
They're moving from the College Park to Phillips Arena. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And again, and I'm going to continue to try to keep this the point, man. It's not her doing this. You know what I mean? It's all these other people that are losing their minds. She's not one of the best 15 players in the United States. Why would she be on the team? Why would we've seen these ladies cook her up on the court. So we just gonna put her on the team because she's Caitlin Clark?
That will cause more division than anything else.
You think? We need to get a grip on this whole situation. She says that she's not on social media. I don't know in this point in time, in these days, how you can escape certain things. Obviously, if you don't have social media for real, then a lot of stuff you're gonna miss. Because it's definitely a chasm, and I'm down in that joint. And I'm gonna tell you, because my social media, my TL is on fire, B. But you know, like I said, when this whole thing came across my TL, I was like, man, I had to bring this up to my mans and them and see if they were feeling the same way. It's funny because it's, you sent me a Instagram message about it while I was sending you a text about it at the same damn time, yo.
The same damn time. Incredible.
You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. But again, that's just America as apple pie, fam, to keep it real.
It's baked into America. Racism is baked into America. Hardwired, foundation, whatever you want to call it, it is part of America.
She is polarizing. It's either that you on this side or you're on that side. You think about what Matt Byron said about where was her teammates and different things of that nature. They've only played to this point not even 15 games in the season, right? You got to form that camaraderie. I kind of liken it to taking it out of the sports realm into that spot when you the new dude at school. You automatically gonna get that attention because first of all, you the new dude or the new girl, but you become the hot boy if you happen to be handsome and the new dude, or you happen to be bad as hell and the new girl. That brings it, elevates it, and you're gonna get that attention either way. Again, man, we got to get a grip because it's a lot of shit, bigger shit going on in the United States to be worried about Caitlin Clark not making the Olympic team and her getting an elbow and falling down. You know, it was just funny to me that the black guys just came out with double barrels in her defense. Oh, they're jealous. Oh, they're this. We've seen it in sports from Michael Jordan coming in and being the man to them not wanting to pass him the ball in the All-Star game. Those things happen. But for Caitlin Clark to maintain this popularity, she's going to have to start busting people up on the court.
That's what it is.
Because as long as people are handing it to her and she's not getting hers and her team is not getting W's, that it will soon dim. That light, that star will soon dim out. You know what I mean? And I hate to say that I can't think of what her name is, but the point guard for Dallas that went to Notre Dame, she is those people's. Oh, and I'm telling you now, the next time you come across a WNBA game and Dallas is on, lock in.
Yeah, you just cannot allow McCowan to get behind you because they know how to throw the ball above the defense.
A turnover as Cloud was looking for a whistle, didn't get it. Ogunbowale against Ka. Kalani Brown has checked in for the Wings. Shot clock getting low. Ogunbowale fires and hits.
Well, that's all she needs is somebody on her defensively.
And what does that mean to the fan at home?
You have one person at top on the zone, one person in the back, and 2 on the wing. Some people will call it a box and one. It doesn't matter. Right now, Ogunbowale is hot.
Taurasi with 8 points here in this second quarter. 4 minutes to go before the half. Copper inside to Dixon. Little too low, and Billings was there for the block.
Well, and Dixon had the shot. She didn't have to fake. Kind of points too, but she just comes down and look at the great range she has and doesn't let the defense come up on her. But you've got to stop others. Make it more difficult for others if Ogunbowale.
There's never been a bigger time in women's sports than right now, especially basketball, and that whole spotlight's coming to us in July.
And talk about how this all came about, your team, as far as the imagination to put everything together.
And it's not just about getting All-Star. He's been very clear it needs to be the best one ever, and it will be the best one ever. And so we can't wait. We're 50-some-odd days away. My goodness.
Cloud has 8 points and 9 assists. After the three-point play the old-fashioned way, Ogunbowale, nothing but net from range. Her 6th three-pointer on the day. She's got 24. Product out of UC Davis in her second W season. Ogunbowale just went into NBA 2K mode. That was a video game move. Slow this Dallas momentum.
Oh, he was trying to look for a rotation right now, and they had all the momentum, and give Dallas credit for
the X Factor, understanding the assignment better than 8,300 fans in the house tonight. Arike, nothing but net. She's got 28. It's anything you can do, I can do better between the league's top 2 scorers. Ogunbowale splash. The triple is her 7th on the day, and she's got 31.
Yeah,
That's my advice to you. And before we wrap up today, I'm gonna look up her name and give her some love, because not only is Asia Wilson and the rest of the women, Breanna Stewart in the W, getting busy, this young lady is super getting busy too, and she like in her 3rd year in the W too. You know what I'm saying? But as I was saying, man, we need to get ourselves in order in the United States, man, because again, we are rapidly approaching November. In November, man, we're gonna have to make a selection on who we want to be in control of what happens going forward for 4 years, man. And I'm saying this to talk about Republican Byron Donalds from Florida. Are you familiar with Mr. Donalds, UH?
Yeah, I've been seeing it flash across my YouTube situation later on in the week. I watched a little bit of them a few days ago, and I actually just sat down and watched them enough to make me discuss it today.
Basically, first of all, when I say GOP in front of his name, an eyebrow should go up. And then, but when you find out that this guy is a black man and he's down with the GOP, with the Republican Party, that should make you sit back in your chair and say, okay.
From Brooklyn.
From BK, born and bred from BK. But again, he is a mega knight. He is a supporter of Donald Trump. And this guy was out stumping for Trump with another black Republican from Texas. His name escapes me right now. And they were doing it was called Cognac and Cigars. So they were doing a little sit down with, of course, they got yak. It wasn't bourbon or whiskey, so it's yak. It was catered towards the brothers. So that was this little gathering. It was called Cognac and Cigars. So during his little talk, he addressed the fact that we were, as a community, the black community, we were conservative in our views, and that during a certain period and a certain time, we were better as families and as people. And he was referring to the Jim Crow period. So without further ado, what I want to do is I want to introduce to the soup Mr. Byron Donalds.
Good evening, I'm Abby Phillip in New York, and I want to get right to it tonight. One of Donald Trump's vice presidential contenders, Congressman Byron Donalds, he made some comments that has a lot of you talking and a lot of Democrats fired up. I'm going to speak with him live in just a couple of minutes, but here are the original remarks. They were made as a part of a pitch to Black voters in Philadelphia, and I want you to hear it in its full context. Listen.
I grew up with my mom. My dad and my mom, things didn't work out. As an adult, I look at my father and I say, bro, I don't know what happened, but you my father and I love you. Wow. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Wow. But I'm gonna tell you this, growing up, the one thing I knew I wanted to do, and this is not about my father, this is about what I wanted to do, is I wanted to be a father to myself. And so one of the things that's actually happening in our culture, which you're now starting to see in our politics, is the reinvigoration of Black families with younger Black men and Black women. And that is also helping to breed the revival of a Black middle class in America. During Jim Crow, the Black family was together. That's right. During Jim Crow, more Black people were not just conservative, because Black people always have been conservative-minded, but more Black people voted conservatively. And then HEW, Lyndon Johnson, and then you go down that road, and now we are where we are. What's happened in America the last 10 years, and I say it because it's my contemporaries, it's Wesley's contemporaries, you're starting to see more Black people be married in homes, raising kids. It's when you home with your wife raising your kids, and then you look at the world, you're saying, "Now wait a minute, time out. This does not look right. How can I get something to my kids?" It goes back to the conversation of generational wealth. Not just having a job, generational wealth.
All right. So let me just ask you this. So this guy, after he said this, he's been everywhere backpedaling and trying to say what he was saying. He didn't say this, and that's not what I meant, and this and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is, why bring up Jim Crow? I'll give it to you. Why bring up Jim Crow at all? You could have made that point without saying anything about Jim Crow. I'll let you go.
I think he tried to use it as a point of reference, but I was thinking about this earlier. In marriage, just like any of the other traditional institutions in our country, is in a decline, period. Whether you're Black, white, yellow, brown, or pink, it don't make a difference. It's something that you're seeing less of people do as a whole. It's like you're seeing less people go to church or religious institutions. You're seeing less people join the government. You're seeing less people go and join government jobs, the Army, armed forces. You're seeing less people go to college because, honestly, society has changed. Now, I do agree that economically, with the system that we're in, it's better if you have somebody to be married with, because there are certain benefits that the government gives you for being married, taxes, death benefits, things like that. But these days, as a single man, me being one, and with assets, that being part of it as well, the thought of me getting married and potentially giving someone half of my hard work is indeed daunting. There's a situation where I feel that it's a personal choice, whether you're white and or Black or any other race, whether you choose to do it. Now, for him to compare it to Jim Crow, you have to understand the social dynamics that were in place at the time. We couldn't move freely amongst other communities. We couldn't move freely amongst ourselves, basically. We couldn't go from this side of town to that side of town if it was on the other side of the tracks. You know what I mean? But then again, you also have the fact that there were Black men who had families 6 miles away, a whole different family, before the internet, before things like that. So to portray the myth of nirvana or a euphoric condition, a totally euphoric condition, in light of all the other things, and I haven't even mentioned racism, redlining, discrimination, lack of housing. If you want to talk about housing, we can talk about the invention of the projects, which happened during the Jim Crow era. We can talk about so many different types of things, ruralization of America, the Great Flight. We can talk about so many different things that were totally different from now. Totally different as for us as a society and for America as a whole. That's not even a fair representation, and definitely the use of the wrong words. He would have been better saying that before or earlier in the 19th century, earlier in the 20th century. He didn't have to say Jim Crow. Jim Crow was, like you said, was completely unnecessary, and it shows where his mindset is as far as a Republican is concerned. Because they're always going to try to get you. They're always going to get you to convince you that the past is better than what the future can hold. And no, that's not what America's about. America's about the promise of the future for everyone.
So this Byron Donalds, first of all, anybody that has two first names
can be trusted.
Yeah, is suspect. Comes to mind. I actually went to school with a cat named Roger Rogers. Anybody that has two first names and as their name is to be watched closely. But this guy Byron, he's got his hat in the ring to be vice president. So there is a method to the reason why he's out having the cigars with cognac meetings in inner cities in the bigger metropolitan areas. You know what I mean? So he's pandering to Donald Trump with regards to the majority of the shit and how he's moving. So now let's say this also. He's also married to a European. So during Jim Crow, my guy, that wasn't going down. And if it did, y'all both was hiding somewhere, making sure nobody knows or hoping nobody found out. It's shameful, man, because he could have said anything other than Jim Crow. You know, he could have just said there was a time, and that would have been enough. But
not too long ago.
Right. He could have did anything. He could have put anything in there with regards to Jim Crow, because there was nothing good about that situation. We can always talk about segregation and desegregation. Was it good for us? Was it beneficial to us? We could definitely always have that conversation. But for him to try to paint a picture that it was good and better than it is now during Jim Crow is absolutely at the end of the day. And I don't know it wasn't a lot of people agreeing to what he said. I don't know if the people that was agreeing to what he said were people that were with him. A lot of people wasn't vibing with what he was saying.
I think he's making an appeal to a certain class of people that are out there. Yeah, and those are the elitists amongst us, the ones who feel that, okay, the capitalists amongst us, or the ones who feel that, okay, I've done this, I've done that, I've done so on and so forth, I'm this, I'm that, and blah, 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 and my money is more important. But they're not realizing that their individual selfishness is not for the greater good. And since it's not for the greater good, what's going to happen if a person like Trump or one of his cronies is elected or put in office or to any of these positions, the things that they value so much is going to be taken away. And they don't even see that because of the fact that they're so blinded by the capitalism. So it's important for us to continue to inform people about people like Byron Donalds. I didn't want to have any near association with my name, but I'll take it. But it's important that we continue to remind people why it's important to like, share, and subscribe to men of a certain age, because we're always going to give you something that you need to pay attention to.
We're definitely going to try to keep you informed, man. And in the words of this man right over my left shoulder here, this man right here once said, can y'all see that? Now y'all.
Every brother ain't a brother.
Every brother ain't a brother. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that no truer words have been spoken to that. So shout out to Chuck D, man. Shout out to PE, man. Mm-hmm. Before we move on, man, and we're talking about Agent Ernst and his VP candidates, this guy, another one that you can't trust.
Oh my God, he's the worst. He's the worst. Did you see him stammering on? Somebody asked him, I forgot what question asked him. You're like, oh, are you going to support the outcome of the 2024 results, even if Donald Trump isn't elected? He hop, skip, jump, flipped back, dug under, ran around, dipped, duck, dodge.
Looking like Bucky.
Man, he's a clown. He's
no, gonna have a good time. Ass motherfucker.
You did the right thing with him because he's definitely a fool, man. Like, he's really a clown, man. And it's amazing that you say that you just said that every brother and a brother, because like I said, when white people see black people, they just see a monolith. You know what I mean? They don't realize that there's different types. You know what I mean? Like, he's the type, I'm a black person, those are niggers over there. He's the type that would straight up say that to a white person. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, I'm black, those are niggers. They're not like me. I'm not like them. You're not like us, or not like us type of motherfucker.
Shout out to Kendrick Lamar.
No doubt. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Chuck D. Like you said, every brother ain't a brother. And he definitely doesn't have our best interest in hand. He literally is only the senator from South Carolina because of his color and because of the racial balance that's in South Carolina.
Now, also, to the people out there, thank y'all for tuning in. Please share, subscribe, and comment down low. And tell a friend to tell a friend. Now, if you look at Trump's candidates, he has, I believe, 3 people of color. He's got Byron Donalds. He has Tim Scott, and he has Benny Ben Carson. So y'all see what's going on. So I think it's 7 candidates.
You got your boy Big Gipp Ramen Shami that your girl told him he wasn't white. She said, "You're white. You'll never be. You're not white. You'll never be vice president. You'll never be respected."
So he
told him, Laura Ingraham.
True indeed, the true story.
Coulter, no, the Coulter chick told him that, and Coulter, yeah.
You look at Trump's VP candidates, and he's got the 3 brothers up there. And don't y'all fall for the banana in the tailpipe, man. If he adds one of these chumps to his ticket, don't be surprised if he does, because he believes, that because he's got a couple cases and a couple charges that we love him. Joe Rogan has something to say about black folk, man. Let me pull this real
him. He back in again. See, I done got him up all out of my algorithm. Like, certain people, I've got him up out of my algorithm. Joe Rogan, academics, who else? Vlad.
I'm with you, but what it is, people that's on my TL, they repost
retweeting what he putting out there
with these cats. But let me just give you this real quick, man. Here we go.
No, not Rogan again. He's terrible.
It's like the Wu-Tang again and again.
He's terrible, man. He's consistent. He's a habitual line stepper.
So many rappers are showing support for Trump now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now he's got
Make America great again. They always gonna whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us.
And now they realize also he's getting trapped by the system, just like everybody's been rapping about. Being trapped by the system, this bullshit system. And you watch it happen with him.
It doesn't matter whether you're black or brown or white or whatever the hell color you are. It doesn't matter. We are all American. If a New Yorker can't save this country, no one can.
They do to everybody, and they pretend they're there for you while they're letting in immigrants.
So yeah, man, fucking Joe Rogan, he don't give a fuck. It's like rappers. So I guess that's mean. So just because Lil Wayne is cozying up to Trump, and whoever that gorilla was on the stage was talking about Trump or shout you out or whatever, whoever those dudes was, I guess that equates to all of us, man. And let me tell y'all, man, don't be out there being stupid, man, and don't vote. I saw a post yesterday. This was a post. I'm going to find it and I'm going to share it with the suit before we get off here. It's so ridiculous. Joe Rogan, UH.
I feel about Rogan. Like I said, for some reason he's become the prototype alpha male for white people, for white men. He's like the Andrew Tate of younger people. You know what I mean? He lets you know about his different alternative thoughts and theories, and you should take it as that way because he says it with such a confident voice, and there's so many people behind him, supporting him, and listen to him and follow him, and so on and so forth. So indeed, it's the truth. But again, people fail to realize that there is no, that is just furthering the stereotype of us as criminals. I don't understand how that is beneficial to us trying to associate with Trump because he got convicted of 34 felonies. How many people, honestly, okay, we've all made mistakes, right? But how many people do you know with 34 felonies?
None.
That's walking the streets.
None.
I don't know nobody with more than 12 felonies. T.I. got what, 8? He went to jail, right? And he's probably got more felonies than anybody I know that's honestly in the public eye. Martha Stewart got what, 3? She went to jail for insider trading, right? Did we rally behind Martha Stewart? That's what they want to tell you. That's what they want to tell you. That's why Black people support Martha Stewart, because she kept it real and she did her time. She stood up, she straight up, blah, 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 so on and so forth.
She had money on the books.
Yeah, she had money on the books, but she was doing something to put herself in jail that 85% of us could not do, that 95% of us don't have access to. You know what I'm saying? That 99% of us can't afford. So why should that how does that relate to us as a whole? It does not. Any type, I remember, I will never forget, this is a perfect example to use this. I was going to do, like I said, we done had some trouble. So I was in Fulton County one time. I wasn't in jail, I was at probation, right? I was getting checked into intense probation. And I remember the black dude that was in there, he was like the intake officer. He was a black dude, mad cool. He was like, it was a white boy that was getting intake, that was doing intake with us. And he was like, look at him. I'm like, yeah, you know what? He wasted his whiteness. There's no way in the world that he should be in here with y'all with all the things that he's been given, that he's had privilege to, that he's had access, that he should be here with y'all. For a white person to bring themselves down to a level, a felonious level, shows that they really don't appreciate what they have and are abusive of it.
They hit rock bottom. Fuck Joe Rogan.
Fuck out of here.
You know what I mean?
Motherfucker.
This is really low for him to try to say, because Trump has got cases that black folks are going to vote for him. And that just goes to show how stupid he thinks y'all are.
Yeah, you know? Exactly.
Unfortunately, black folk do a lot of shit to warrant that. And with that being said, check this out. Read this for me.
None of my ancestors died for me, so I can vote for the white people that killed them. Clearly, that's AI and a troll from China or Russia, because if that's a black person from America, then that's a problem. Yeah, that's a huge problem, and that person should be eliminated. That person should be eliminated from the voting rolls. That person should not be allowed to vote. That person should not have the internet. That person should immediately catch a case of, what did Michael Jackson have? Vitiligo. He should have that. He should be getting those pills in the mail, because he does not deserve to be blessed with that beautiful black skin. Yeah, I don't. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully this is a troll, an AI personality, a bot, a China plant, a Russian plant, an Iranian plant, an Iraqi, something along those lines, because that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. And let me tell you, I just want to say this real quick. Black people died for the right to vote, on the way to vote, at the voting booths, on the way home from the voting booths. There's no way in the world that we shouldn't vote. I don't care if you go there and press any candidate for whatever works, you get your ass out and you vote.
And that's the reason why, and hopefully, Don, that you are right, that it didn't come from a black person's keyboard. But you know what I'm saying? These days, these times, Chuck D said it best. Every brother ain't a brother. And they are showing their ass out here in these streets, man. While we're out in these streets, man, let me take it to your neck of the woods. Your man Big Gipp is out here bending the corner with a message to Black folks. And like I said, man, it be our own folks, man.
And you know what's crazy? I didn't even hear this, so this is going to be a complete surprise to me. I wanted to wait for the show to actually see what the hell he had to say. So I'm looking forward to this one right here.
Good morning. Good morning. I guess we got it. They ain't told the truth again. But this the other part. I really, at this time, bro, I really understand how Martin, the King, how Malcolm X, I see how they feel. I understand how they feel. They tried to tell the people. They tried their best, bro. But one thing about our people, see, we so gullible. We so gullible. It's people around here having seizures they never had. It's people around here having blood clots they never had. It's a countless people that died with some strange symptoms, but they still talk, but they believe the other folk. Hey, man, y'all gonna wind up in concentration camps and everything else. These folk keep telling y'all they trying to motherfucking depopulate the world, but y'all gonna keep doing the things that they need you to do for you to die early. Y'all, man, stupid dumb.
He is talking about the COVID shots. I don't know what he's talking about or what metrics that he's following that people are dying. Here's the news flash to get. We all are going to have an expiration date, okay? He's saying people are dying of all of these unexplainable things and symptoms and different things of that nature because of taking the shot for or shots for the coronavirus. I'm trying to think, he said something else. Oh, he said that y'all was going to end up in concentration camps. And my question is going to be, is this to Gipp? When we in these concentration camps, where your ass going to be?
He's gonna be shopping for another bonnet. So right, there's always like some people who want to tell you that what to do with your body, right? People want to tell you if you can have an abortion after 6 weeks, you can't have an abortion after 3 months, whatever the case may be. People want to tell you to go ahead to the doctor. Don't go to the doctor, just sea moss and black seed oil. People want to tell you that go to the dentist, just take these Instagram veneers and it's all gonna be good. You know what I mean? And I have a very kind of singular approach to this when it comes to your health, when it comes to your soul, when it comes to things that are completely and totally personal, right? Your appearance, your health, your maintenance, things like that. Guess what? You do what's best for you, right? If I decide to put that shit in my body because my parents are older and I don't want to be around them and I'm around mad people and I don't want some shit jumping off me and hopping on them. If I decide to do, that's my choice. If I decide not to go to church on Sundays, if I decide to go outside and play with my grass and worship my grass, that's my choice. Those things are personal. So you cannot chide someone for their personal decisions unless they're using those personal decisions to hurt others. That's just really the way that I feel. As far as Gipp saying concentration camps and so on and so forth, okay, Gipp, if that's the case, what are you doing about it to stop it besides getting on the internet and saying that it's going to happen? How about open a gun training class for Black youth? How about buying a compound and making it self-sufficient for at least the Dungeon family? You know what I mean? How about that? As opposed to riding around and saying what you got to say. Everybody's got something to say, which is cool. You know what I mean? We've got something to say. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. We've always got something to say on men of a certain age, but what are we doing behind it? You know what I mean? We're not tearing down things and then doing negative things or just sitting back and looking at it. If I say that I want to affect things and I want to change the way Black people think, I can, with what I do, I'm letting people know every day, listen, I don't want to do this for you. This is why I don't want to do this. This is what happens if you do this. I'm giving understanding. I'm giving knowledge. I'm imparting wisdom. You know what I mean? So unless you're so high up in the sky and you got it all figured out and you just want to just drop down below and tell people messages and then go back up to your pedestal, what good are you? You're part of the 10%.
When it came across my TL, I was like, what sparked you to get up and just turn the corner and just start blasting at folks about what they're doing?
with their bodies.
I don't understand how it directly affects you. You chose not to get vaccinated for whatever the reasons were that you chose not to. Other people like myself decided to get vaccinated for the reasons that I chose to get vaccinated. I don't have another head growing out of my neck. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any ill wills that I didn't have prior to. You know what I'm saying? For people to get out and talk matter of factly, that's the things that rubs me the wrong way. You want to point your finger at and say, I understand what Malcolm and Martin. No, you don't. So let's not do that. But hey, this is America. You free to say and do whatever you want to do. But when you play yourself and say some bullshit, you might end up on the soup. you know what I'm saying? So as we continue on, man, it's another guy that is a capitalist that is out here showing up in places that we would never think that he would show up. And who I'm speaking about Curtis. And there he is, Mr. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson himself.
Pity.
So 50 Cent made his way up to Capitol Hill to lobby Congress about the Black representation in the spirits business, the distribution by Black companies in the liquor business. There's your man, Ben Crump. I have a healthy amount of respect for Ben Crump, but like I said, sometimes my eyebrow raises with Ben. It seems like Ben is definitely a capitalist as well, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but he's definitely about that paper. So
and he's an opportunist.
It's funny, right? That when Puff got into his troubles, we came on the soup because Puff has found his way into the soup. We speculated that a lot of Puff's situations came about when he got the ownership of that liquor company and went to war with them about the distribution of it. Now look at this. This is straight from 50 Cent's Twitter account. Puff made Diago a lot of money with Ciroc. They were fine with that because he didn't own anything. Soon as he owns DeLeon, their relationship can't work. I made Suntory Globe a lot of money with effing. Soon as I own my own brand, they did me dirty. They want Black consumers, but they don't want Black business owners. So it's funny to me. He loves to throw salt in Puff's wounds, right? But what does he do? He goes and he tries to champion what Puff was already going through with the other Diago DeLeon. So let's take a look and see what Mr. Jackson had to say while he was up on Capitol Hill.
Heading into another election, so have you made a decision about who you're going to support? I'm not sure how to answer the question, to be honest with you. Have you made a decision? I haven't. What do you see as the significance of African American men in this election? Thank you, everybody. Both of you. I see them identifying with Trump.
So they asked him who was he going to support for president. That's the reason. That's what he said. I'm not sure about. So let's go back.
Have you made a decision about who you're going to support? I'm not sure how to answer that question, to be honest with you. Have you made a decision? I haven't. What do you see as the significance of African American men in this election? Thank you, everybody. Both of you. I see them identifying with Trump. Why do you say that? Because they got RICO charges.
See, that is the bullshit. So he just doubled down on what Joe Rogan is pushing. We identify with Trump because the justice system has been locking Black folks up, wrong or indifferent. But here it is. The difference is Trump got locked up for some shit he did. You know what I'm saying? He's not getting railroaded in jail. He's not getting no bonds. You know what I'm saying? He's not, yes, sir, no, sir, to the judge. Yes, your honor, no, your honor. There is no correlation between Trump and me because, yes, I had a case. I don't identify with that man because he and I have nothing in common other than we both breathe air. That's where I'm stopping.
And I agree, man. Just because you've been on the right side of a situation as far as a courtroom is concerned, or sometimes even the left side of a situation, it doesn't make you any more valid. That's just like people talking about street cred, right? How is street cred really valid? What does street cred really do for you? Unless you plan on being in the streets. So I don't want to be around anybody who's got a bunch of felonies. Matter of fact, I don't want them around me because that means the feds are going to be watching me. And I don't do shit. You know what I mean? So I just don't want the extra scrutiny on me. You know what I mean? And like you said, it's a RICO. There's all kinds of correlations. I remember Colin Coward put up a thing last week. He was like, everybody basically around this guy has been convicted of a felony. So basically what he was saying is that you hang around 9 friends, your 9 broke friends, you're bound to be the 10th one. It's a cabal, it's a conspiracy of people who are doing felonious acts in order to stay in power. I don't think that we have enough unity to be hit with a RICO charge. You know what I mean? As a whole. Now, there are obviously certain criminal in organizations, but generally, Black people aren't hit with RICO because they're not that organized. We're at the crabs, and a lot of us are at the crabs in the barrel mentality, even when it comes to, obviously, there's a felonious aspect to deal with, but that doesn't make me feel any closer to Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form. And I'm just astounded that 50, as much as he dogged, rides, and berates Puffy, is taking up his fight, more or less. You know what I mean? He's taking up Puffy's fight, probably from a better. 50 is very strategic, so he probably realized what happened or what they're doing to Puffy. Even though he's relishing in it as a capitalist with the opportunity to make media behind it, content. But he's also realizing the things that got Puffy into trouble and is trying to subvert that at a legislative level, which I can respect by him being up there. It's extremely unfair for him to continue to berate somebody whose skeletons are out of the closet just because they took up the fight for something that you took torch from them from.
Again, every brother ain't a brother, in the words of the great. and 50 Cent is not a brother.
He's a capitalist.
He's a capitalist, and that's his bottom line. His bottom line is what his bank account looks like, and that's cool. That's the way the world works. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you can't make your interests his interests, because his interests don't correlate with yours. And because last time I checked, a lot of y'all ain't millionaires. A lot of y'all ain't thousandaires to be trying to take advice or follow him when his interests. All he want to know is making sure that you buying his liquor. That's what you are, is $1 to him. And we, as the culture, man, we got to be better than that. And speaking of the culture, man, like I said, man, my TL is on fire, stays on fire, hot. You know what I mean? And this week, rapper MC, I'm gonna call it MC, Bun B, was in court, man, because he had to testify against the man who did a house invasion on his home and held his wife by gunpoint. And the crazy thing is, the question came across, and it was from us, is Bun B a snitch? Now, first, let's go to the footage of Mr. Bun B, MC Bun B, in court, man.
Here's rap legend Bun B and his wife, Queenie, giving emotional testimony in court today. The couple described a home invasion that happened back in 2019.
Yeah, this story made big headlines back then, and you may remember that's when the rapper ended up shooting the armed robber. Now, that man is set to be sentenced for his crime. Sherman Chow joins us from the courthouse with what's next in this case and some interesting stuff in the courtroom today, Sherman.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah, actually,
resumes tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. It has been a very emotional and tense day here in the 209th. Rapper Bun B, whose legal name is Bernard Freeman, and his wife Chevalier both testified about that 2019 attack at their Houston home. 25-year-old DeMonte Ailey Jackson has pled guilty to aggravated robbery and burglary with intent to commit another offense. Jackson's parents testified on his behalf, saying that he has an IQ of 81 and mental health issues. The Freemans say that Jackson forced his way into their home, put a gun to Mrs. Freeman's head to rob them and steal their car. Bun B, who was upstairs, grabbed a gun, came downstairs, opened fire on Jackson, who by then was behind the wheel of a car in the family garage.
I like to shoot back at me, and I proceeded to unload my weapon. Well, I wasn't sure if I unloaded my weapon, and then he fell out of the car, he threw his gun down. I started fighting with him. My wife came through the garage door. She started screaming. Tell Dad, you ain't gotta ask.
After that outburst, there was a brief recess and court resumed. Jackson's father said his son was a standout high school football player who, quote, had everything, including 2 cars and a moped, but not disciplined because he wanted to be a friend, not a father. Jackson was wounded in that shootout and then fled to a hospital where he was then later arrested. 2 more defense witnesses are scheduled to testify tomorrow morning, after which the judge will issue a sentence.
So boom, there you have it, man. What? See, that's what I said. That's the reason why I said earlier, man. People, they stupid and they worry about the wrong shit. You know what I mean? And they're easy to take advantage of. Gipp has one thing right when he said gullible. There's a lot of gullible folks out here, man. And for people to sit up there and say that this man is a snitch due to the fact that he's up there defending his home and his wife. What the hell, UH?
That's ridiculous. And that's that. I don't know where these rules came from. You know what I mean? Like, where are we following mob rules? Are we following street rules? Who made these rules? Where do they come from? How have they been tested? How does it work out for us as a whole? No, absolutely not. You run in my house, you getting shot. You grab somebody close to me, I'm doing whatever I can to save them and to defend my property. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how people think that's snitching if something actually happened to you. My definition of snitching has always been you and somebody do something. You get away. They get caught. They tell the cops about you. That's a snitch. It's this big difference between being a witness, a participant, and a snitch, right? So if you're a participant, that means that you were involved in it one way or another, either trying to stop the crime or trying to further the crime. That's a participant. That's one way or another, right? Then there's also the snitch. A snitch, like we just said, we do something together. I get caught. You get away. I say it was Fro. That's a snitch. A witness is me and Fro are doing some shit. The lady across the street see me and you do it. She calls the cops. She's a witness. She's a citizen. She wasn't involved. She's trying to maintain her lifestyle and watch out for herself. So she's going to be a witness. I don't understand what's so hard for people to figure out those 3 things, because a snitch just doesn't mean that you're taking a stand. I've had people take the stand against me that I love and cherish to this day. You know what I mean? Just because of the fact that they were a participant, not necessarily a snitch. People don't understand the law. And the thing about it is that those jailhouse or internet lawyers will only get you but so far until you're involved into the actual situation and you have to deal with the laws of that particular jurisdiction. It's crazy. Insane.
Yeah, again, it's like you said, like you ended with, it's crazy. Street codes, there are no street codes because it's a game of survival when you're out in the streets.
Real.
When you're out in the streets, you're gonna do whatever you can do to survive.
That's real shit.
You know what I'm saying? And for people to comment and call, Bun B a snitch for testifying. Is what he did, was testifying on what happened in his home between him, his wife, and the guilty part over there.
A participant. He's a participant. What the fuck?
So again, man, we in the community, us in the culture, we worried about the wrong shit. You know what I'm saying? That shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. And it's not a topic of conversation for grown folks. Men of a certain age, that wouldn't even
share, subscribe, comment below.
That wouldn't even be something that we fucking discussed. That would be a prerequisite. We know that if somebody broke into your house and you defended yourself, and that person who broke into your house is now in jail, we know that you are going to have to show up in court to testify about what happened if this person is to go to jail. Why would I turn the other cheek for somebody who came in and tried to take my shit? Not only did he try to take my shit, he tried to take our lives.
He grabbed your whiz? Nigga, you crazy?
The only thing that I have, my life, this dude is trying to take. That's just ridiculousness. And listen, I'm speaking to the youth, man. I got to wise up, man. That is not what it's all about, man. That's definitely not snitching, man. During these times, man, a lot of bullshit that's happening. Shout out to Panero, man, on his way back from his nephew's graduation. And the reason why I bring up the graduation, man, it was some bullshit that happened at a high school graduation where a parent rushed the stage.
Wisconsin.
Let me show you this real quick.
No, stop.
It was supposed to be a joyful day at this high school graduation, but for one promising graduate, it was anything but a happy occasion.
Elise, Kathleen, Eddie.
Moments after she steps on stage, her dad bum rushes the superintendent, pushing him to interview. It's a stunning sight. Look at the anguish on his daughter's face when she realizes it's her father disrupting her big moment and embarrassing her in front of the entire graduating class and parents. You can hear an angry exchange said to be between the two men.
That's my daughter. You better get up off me, man. Get away from me, bro.
And then something stunning was said. I don't want her touching him.
I don't care.
Anchor and reporter Taj Mahal of WDJT in Milwaukee is covering the story.
It is unclear what led to this altercation, but we are hearing some chatter online. Some people are saying it could have been racially motivated because superintendent.
It could have been racially. Come on, man. I'm like we continue to say, man, stakes are high in 2024, man. You know, you got to vote, man, and you got to vote your conscience. You know what I mean? Here it is in 2024. This man is rushing the stage for his daughter not to touch the hand of the black superintendent of schools. Now, see, this parent is the type of parent that's going to have a black grandson.
You already know what's happening. You already. I was going to say that. I was like, listen, I'm glad she's graduating high school because when she gets to college, she's going to get in touch by plenty of black men. That's what college is for. That's where it happens at. It might not happen after that, but I guarantee it happens during college.
He is the type of parent that is going to have a black grandson or granddaughter. And then he's really going to have to come to grips with his isms because that's how it works. That's how it works. And when I saw that, man, I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, you running up here talking about you don't want him to touch your daughter. That superintendent should have hit him with a 2-piece and a biscuit. But I digress. Go ahead.
I'm just, like I said, man, it's amazing that people have this amount of hate in their hearts, but will root for the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll root for the University of Wisconsin. You know what I mean? We'll root for the Green Bay Packers. You know what I mean? And Jordan Young and Jordan Love. So it can. I've always had a problem with that. How?
But hold that. We've seen from Do the Right Thing. Those players aren't black.
Mm-hmm.
those players play for the Packers. But if they were to go over and play for the Eagles, then they would be black. But as long as they play for their team that they root for, they're no longer black. Continue.
Yeah, perfect example. Stephon Diggs, you know what I mean? Who was black, regardless if he was outspoken or not, he definitely was outspokenly black, and I love it. You know what I mean? But the minute he gets out of Buffalo, now we didn't need the diva and whoop-de-woo and so on and so forth. Listen, you're only good to white people if you serve them a purpose. Seemingly. The majority of them, I would say 85% of them, you're only good to them if you serve their purpose and what they're trying to do, or they can look down upon you. If that's part of they might not have direct control or access to you, but if they can find one black person, look down on you, serve their purpose. And unfortunately, we still have to deal with people like this. The guy who rushed the stage, who's probably a big Wisconsin fan, probably loves Russell Wilson, all this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? But doesn't want her daughter to be touched by congratulated by an educated black man. Maybe he saw something on her phone, maybe a BBC search, maybe he, you know what I'm saying, he has some information that we don't know about that's making him react in this way. But I guarantee you that with the way that he reacted, he did nothing but enhance her curiosity.
You can say that again. And I know violence is not the key, but I said he should have hit him with a 2-piece and a biscuit. But let's be clear. That man put his hands on him. So he would have been perfectly within his rights to hit him with that 2-piece and a biscuit. Again, man, it's a shame. And I'm sure it's embarrassing for that girl. She'll never, ever live that down. While she's talking to her black daughter at her graduation, she'll be talking about what her grandfather did to her at her graduation.
She can come to me. She can come to me for forgiveness. I have a way for her to work it out.
No doubt about it. Now, before we close out, UH, I always like to hand it off to you so that you can spark whatever it is that you need to spark on these topics, man. So I put the ball in your court, man. What you got for the people?
I want to talk about, I like to say highly political, man. I like to have fun. I like to do different things. I'm a free thinker. I've always prided myself. If Fro would tell you, I've always marched to the beat of my own drum. You know what I mean? But I'm still in step with black people, right? So that's all that matters. I want to talk today quickly about a gentleman named Edward Blum. I want all the people who watch, subscribe, share, comment below to Google this guy, Edward Blum. Edward Blum is like an Arnsparger. Arnsparger was actually the guy who started the movement against marijuana back in the 1930s. Arnsparger actually was the one who, because of the fact that it was being brought in by Mexicans, shout out to my Mexican peoples, being brought in by Mexicans, and black and brown were a lot closer back then, they actually were sharing it with a lot of the black people. It caused a hysteria where black guys would have the weed and they smoke it with the white girls would go crazy, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that happened a few times. Probably not every time. But it caused a craze, which led to reefer madness, which led to the prohibition of marijuana and eventually the war on drugs and the way that we see drugs taken care of being dealt with at this point. Another thing I want you guys to pay attention to is something called the Southern Strategy. The Southern Strategy is basically a strategy where the Republican Party flipped from pro-black to anti-black, for lack of a better phrase. What they did is after Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Acts and Equal Rights Bills and all those things that were tumultuous during the 60s as a Democratic president, what happened is the Republicans basically vowed to not vote Democratic again. They decided to focus their attention on the poorer white voters of the South. And it became known as the Southern Strategy, whereas they would convince the poorest white man that even at his lowest, that he was still better than the black man. And that has been the Republican strategy for basically the last 50 years, my entirety of my life. So that's why you have things like the Conservative Party, the Tea Party, MAGA, so on and so forth. These are all derivatives of that. But the one person I want you guys to pay attention to is Edward Blum. Edward Blum was responsible through 50 years of literally hard work of getting the abortion rights turned over. If you go ahead and Google him, you'll see all of his credentials. I think he's with the American Center for Board Thought or something crazy like that. But basically, white Christian nationalist organizations. And what he also did is he challenged the ruling, and you can see this on my Facebook page, and I'll share this with Fro as well. He challenged the ruling for affirmative action in education. And once that ruling for affirmative action in education was ruled on by a Supreme Court, Trump appointees, I think it was 5-4 or either whatever it was, the court ruled against affirmative action. And since then, affirmative action has been taking a hit in education. Actually, last week they got rid of a grant program offered by Black women to help out other minority entrepreneurs as part of that. So
I saw that.
So that's part of the whole Ed Bloom effect. And that's what people need to realize. There are white people, there are people in think tanks who have large amounts of money and large amounts of influence who are actually moving this country into a direction that is not indicative of the way the majority of Americans, white, black, brown, green, purple, or pink, do think. You know what I mean? These are the people that we need to be on the lookout for. These are the people who are literally legislating against your interests. That's why voting is so important, because there are people who have made it their life duty to reverse the things and take things away from us that humanize us, that give us the same civil rights as others. And like we spoke earlier about reverse racism, you're going to see much more of that being brought up because of people like Ed Blum, because he's saying that, listen, we're all the same. We've had a Black president. So there's really no racial bias. There's really no racism left in America. Now, white people are being discriminated against now. And even though we know that's virtually impossible because of the dynamics of power that work in this country, it's something that is out there and will continue to be pushed to the forefront. And if we don't pay attention to it, instead of Drake versus Kanye or Caitlin Clark or whatever the trending topic may be, we may find ourselves just our only opinion being that counts is our opinion online, not our opinion in the voting booth.
Is Bun B a snitch? Stupid shit like that. We need to get our minds right, man. And again, man, we want to say thank you for that, man, for sprinkling in that information and that knowledge, man. And we're definitely going to follow up and tighten that up on this particular episode, man. And this is the latest and the greatest episode of The Soup, man. And for me, Les, I got my man UHP will be back next week. This is the same old soup. We just reheating it, y'all. Until next time.
Make sure y'all vote.
Peace.
Peace.